But the big story on Action News tonight is the surrender of two young brothers for the horrific and heartbreaking beating death of a 73-year-old man in North Philadelphia. One of the brothers, just 10 years old. Surveillance video captured a group of 7 youngsters attacking the victim with a traffic cone. Today, the two brothers surrendered to the Philadelphia Police Homicide Unit in the death of James Lambert. He suffered severe head injuries and later died. Action News reporter Walter Perez is live at police headquarters tonight. And Walter, you spoke with the victim's family earlier today.
That's right, Rick. The two young suspects surrendered about 2 hours ago. Now, 4 other suspects have not yet come forward or been arrested. Still, this was news that the family of the 73-year-old victim was hoping to hear. Action News was there today as 2 of the suspects allegedly involved in the June 24th beating death of 73-year-old James Lambert arrived at police headquarters to surrender. We are blurring their faces because they are minors. Brother.
What's up, YouTube? It's Rochelle Tanner. It's July 11th. It's 7:51 p.m. I'm back with a video on an update about Mr. James Lambert, the 73-year-old that got beat to death by 7 black juveniles, and this was a black senior citizen. Before I start, I want to preface this with thank you to a lot of my commenters. You guys have really inspired me. And this is for the people that say I'm negative and all this other stuff. I have been trying to think of a catchphrase for this channel, and you helped me find one. Yes, I'm negative. Yes, I'm a hater. And what? So thank you. Over here on this channel, you want your daily dose of black negativity? I'm the person to give it to you. Now let's get back into this story. Let me start off by saying in my past video, I was actually wrong. I said these kids ranged in ages of 13 to 16. I was wrong. It's 10 to 14. This is disturbing on so many levels. You know, I did a video about a young 19-year-old water boy down in Atlanta earlier, and I got a lot of slack for my comment. But this is my point right here. See, it doesn't start at 15, 16, 17, 18. Hell, it doesn't even, for some things, doesn't even start at 10 years old. It starts when they're little people. What in the world were these kids doing out at, and I was wrong in my initial video too, it was 2:30 in the morning. It wasn't 11, 12 o'clock at night. I thought it was earlier. Guys, I live in Philadelphia. I'm almost 42, Lord willing, in 3 weeks. I'm not even outside at 2:30 in the morning here in Philadelphia. Only time you'll catch me outside is on the weekends when I do my Uber benders. Because a lot of times I'll drive 15, 16 hours and just do Uber in one day. Now, when I do Uber, my doors are locked. I go to certain sections. I only go to familiar neighborhoods. I try to stay near the campus, even though Cecil B. Moore down here in Philadelphia, that's right outside of Temple, depending on what block they were on. This 73-year-old man who paid his dues might have got up to go to after hours to get a drink or go get a beer. He can be out at 73 years old. What the fuck were those kids doing outside that late? And I'd like to say I'm surprised, but when I do my Uber Eat benders, I see this. I see the 12, 13-year-old girls with the little mini skirts on and hot pants. I see that. Walking at 12 o'clock at night, 1 o'clock at night. Or if I go to late McDonald's run at 1 in the morning, these 14-year-old kids are standing there, 13 and shit. Little boys walking around late at night, doing God knows what. These kids should be at home and in the bed. That's where these kids should be. Not just at home, but in the bed sleep. Not out at 2:30 in the morning on any night. Now, the reason I had to think of a catchphrase for this channel is because I've been called negative and all that stuff, and that's fine. I used to let it bother me, but I had to think back to first grade. Sticks and stones will break my bones. And I also have to keep in mind of the people who call me negative, because there's always a couple groups of people who call me negative, and they're both black. Men without fathers, because they often sound like their mothers in a lot of things they do and say. And women with kids that don't have raise them. And whenever you even touch upon something being wrong with black people, you're negative. You're this and that. So my question is, if I'm negative, what the fuck are these parents raising? Now, if you notice when them two little boys, them two young boys, them young, and one's a soon to be young man in 4 years, when they walked into the police station, who wasn't there? You had the white lady that looked like their attorney, more than likely, their mother, who wasn't in the picture. Take a wild guess. Now, see, these two young men come from a household that would tell me that I'm negative. What a joke. What a joke. These 73-year-old people, I don't care of their ethnicity in this conversation because I don't like seeing this go on with old blacks, whites, Hispanics, Asians. Because listen, I don't care how messed up these old people are. They paid their dues. Like this 73-year-old, he probably fought for your black ass and my black ass and any white ass or whoever's watching this, but certainly you black people that are watching this. This man fought more than likely for you to be able to sit here and complain in 2022 about how bad this country is. Yeah, he fought for that. He worked them factories when this country still made shit and met his demise by a 10 and a 14-year-old punk. Hit him with a traffic cone. I thank the good Lord my parents and my grandparents have since passed. See, my father's mother, my grandmother, she used to pack heat. She was doing that shit in the 90s. I'm not sure about my mom's mom, but it wouldn't surprise me. My mom's people's from down south. But I know my father's mother carried that heat. And as I get older, I'm not going to have a choice. A lot of people aren't going to have a choice. Because you motherfuckers out here that don't want to raise these little black kids, the streets are going to raise them. And don't you dare expect the streets to care about your kids more than you do or did. Cops aren't the beginning result. Cops are the end result. And let's not forget, you guys wanted the cops defunded a couple years ago. And a lot of these liberal, lame cities obliged. And look at this hot mess we got going on. And this is from city to city. Let's get back into the story.
Ages 10 and 14. Police officials say the department received a flurry of tip calls after authorities released this surveillance video of the beating that ended with the death of a beloved member of the community in North Philadelphia, affectionately known as Simmy. The victim's sister, Elsie Stevens, says she has a hard time believing what unfolds in that video.
He was trying to get away from them, and they ran behind him and beat him like he was nothing. Like he was nothing.
You can see Mr. Lambert was beaten to the ground with the use of a traffic cone while walking across Cecil B. Moore Avenue last month. At first, he survived the brutal attack, only to pass away a short time later at the hospital. Mr. Lambert's niece, Rochelle Stevens, says the hardest part was telling her grandson that Uncle Simmy didn't make it.
My 3-year-old grandson to understand now that he's never coming back. He holds on to the funeral card and say they took my uncle.
Meanwhile, Elsie Stevens says that while it's good that this investigation is moving in the right direction, nothing can undo the damage done by the young people involved.
Everybody that called me and talked to me, they just don't understand why these kids would do what they did to him. I can't do it.
Now, Action News has also learned that police are in contact with at least one other family of one of the other suspects. As of tonight, though, no word or any further word about any possible arrests or surrender in this case.
You know, I watched this news clip on another Philadelphia local news channel, and the DA hasn't put out word, Larry Krisner, if he's going to charge the parents as well. Hell yeah, these parents should be charged. These parents should be charged more than the kids. Because kids do what you train them to do. And for that 10-year-old, his mother should be under the fucking jail. I don't care if she has other kids. I don't care if she has to work. I don't care about none of that shit. Once you bring in kids into the world, you're not no kid yourself. You're not a kid anymore. And I am tired of these black women and men letting their children run wild. And when they end up hurting someone else, it's always someone else's fault. It's Jay-Z's fault. It's Beyonce's fault. It's their kids' fault. It's white supremacy's fault. It's the police's fault. It's negative people's fault. It's everyone but these fucking parents. everybody else, in which, and let me just say, when as I get into this YouTube thing, and I had a pretty good feel for YouTube because I watch YouTube much more than anything else. You ones that run around talking about negative and all this other stuff, you better understand, you need Rochelle Tannen. You need people like Rochelle Tannen, because both them boys, just by looking at them, I can tell, like a lot of these young black kids, the public assists you with paying for your kids. Make no mistake. Those kids are getting some kind of Medicaid, food stamps, or something that the taxpayers are paying for. Y'all want public assistance, but no one can assist with your kids. As I said in my earlier video, y'all talking about this village thing. How the hell is the village supposed to help you with your kids when you do protest anything the village says that makes sense? It doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman. Anything that will shatter you all's fragile egos about being parents is always negative. It's always bashing about anything in life, for that matter. As I said, only people that's called me negative and all this stuff is usually black men without a daddy and black women who want you to say they're the best parent on earth, even though their children, it doesn't show. I'm not making these things up. And it's not just here in Philadelphia. This is why we have 19-year-old water boys and y'all defending this shit when that young man should be working. There's never been a time, I don't think, you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, that there was so many companies in this country that are down workers. And you got young men, young black men out here that are selling water bottles at 2021. Come on. They're not becoming millionaires off that shit. Y'all need to stop. And it used to be a hustle for the little boys. I guess young men have taken over that hustle. And y'all will criticize someone with a difference of opinion talking about they negative. No, this is negative. This is negative. Or hell, maybe to someone's perspective, this is positive. But I'll end it on this note. If this is positivity in being black, then I'll be negative and white. Because if I ever had a 10-year-old baby, I'm gonna, fuck that. If I had a 14-year-old baby, I'm gonna know where the fuck they are. I'm gonna know where they are. I was born in 1980. I'm a kid of a baby boomer. Listen here, I'll snap, crackle, and pop on that ass once you hit 13, 14, like a real mother should. You gonna be in that house in that bed. There won't be no walking the streets and all that other stuff. But hey, that's just my perspective, my negative perspective. But again, I'm negative, I'm hating, and what? I'm out.